Alright, so I'm a little late to the game here, but I'm going to go ahead and give my 2 cents on this. Anyhow, not that anybody cares, which is fine, but I'm going to do it because I watch a lot of videos out there and have seen other opinions and figured, hey, might as well throw my hat in the ring. So, 25th anniversary rarity collection. Number one. Launched on November 3rd, 2023. That was about 2.5 months ago. It is now retailing for about $100 a box. And if you look at the current TCG price list of those cards, the quarter century secret rares make up the top of that list. 167 for the Ash Blossom, on down through to Pot of Prosperity at 43, and it continues down below that for the quarter century rares. This shows that there's a collector's market out there. If you look at everything that was produced in 2023 for Yu-Gi-Oh! By Konami, it was an absolute flood of product. Booster boxes that range from this $90, $100 booster box all the way down to some $30 boxes, which are absolute garbage apparently. As 2024 rolls around, lo and behold, Konami has announced Rarity Collection 2. Now, it seems to be the opinion of many out there that Konami is trying to beat the collector out of the game and provide all of these reprints for the player. And I disagree with that. I believe that Konami is trying to go the route of Wizards of the Coast with Magic, and they're trying to power crunch and figure out how to money grab these products. The collectors are there. There's collectors at the heart that want to collect these cards regardless of how many times of, say, Starlight, Rare, Access Code Talker will always deem or require the higher premium from any other printing. So the collector's market is there. As a collector, you can say, I have the first Starlight printing of Access Code Talker. I get that there's 300 of them out there now in different printings and different rarities, and that's great for the player base because now the players can find it. If you look at anything in Magic the Gathering, in any of these tournament scenes, a lot of your top tier tournament players want that high value card in the top level rarity. Konami is going to follow that model. They're going to provide all of these different printings of all of these different cards so that the collectors can still chase their collection and still add to their collection for the future. And the players can still have that opportunity that if they, say, don't have a ton of cash, they can buy the lower rarity or lower version of the card. But if they want to be sparkly and shiny in the tournaments, they can buy that higher rarity, quarter century rare, Starlight rare, and they can throw that in their deck. And they can look fancy, which is basically what it comes down to. You're showing your clout. Like, I've got the cash. I can afford this. I'm going to put an entire deck together of quarter century and Starlight rares. You're going to have that clout. You're going to go against somebody that has the exact same deck that might not have those quarter century rares. The deck's still the same, but the whole thing is that the person with the quarter century rare deck has the money to pay for it. So it's great for the player base that all those various rarities are going to be out there for them to get. And it's great for the collectors that there's still going to be that high-end collector card that's still going to be limited run print for them to collect and put into their collection. Now, a lot of times when I hear people talk about collectors, the immediate thing they think about when they hear collectors is, oh my God, they're just trying to turn us over for cash. And that is absolute wrong. It's not correct. There are people out there, and there are many, many, many people out there that buy these cards and turn them because they want the cash. That's not a collector. They're buying the booster boxes. They're tearing all those booster boxes open and they're putting it directly onto the market. That's not a collector. That's a reseller. Resellers and collectors are not the same. Collectors are individuals like myself who just appreciate the artwork, appreciate the story, appreciate the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic, any of these new Wii Sports cards out there, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z, the history of these cards. To buy the collection, to purchase collections, to purchase booster packs, to purchase singles, they just have it. It's not for the value. I have so many cards in my collection, it's not for the value, it's because I like the cards. I'm just a card collector. It's something that I do. Some of those may become valuable in the future. It's not going to be for me. It's going to be for my children, most likely my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, because in my lifetime, the majority of that's not going to be worth fluff. And we all know at some point that a lot of it's not going to be worth anything at all, so it doesn't really matter. But the idea behind this 25th Anniversary Rarity Collection 2 is an absolute money grab. It is an absolute money grab because, again, when you look at the amount of product that Konami flushed out into the streets last year, and you look at how much that was truly successful, it is a very, very limited selection that was successful, in my opinion. Which, again, I'm sure nobody cares about, but that's my opinion. The Rarity Collection 1 sold so hotly, and it has the largest batch of overall cards worth resale value. On the first-hand market, this true sale market, the booster boxes cannot be sold for $100. On the resale market, or any of the actual card shops that still continue to sell this product, they're able to turn over some of those singles. And on the resale market, there's pretty heated competition to obtain these cards for the resale value, because again, they're maintaining their value ungraded at base level. The Konami went, hey, we're onto something here, because pretty much all those other box sets that they produced last year and all those other sets that they produced last year had one or maybe two cards in it that was worth any kind of value, and everything else was worth pennies on the dollar. Truly pennies on the dollar. I watched Direxon34 open box after box after box on some of his streams, and time after time you get to that, that secret rare card and it's worth 7 cents. That's abysmal. But that is the nature of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the deck building and the competitiveness, is that if you don't have that one grouping of decks or cards that every single person is playing or batching or building around, then the cards are just trash until some genius out there comes up with a new deck that's competitive, and then those cards that are currently worth 7 cents might become worth money. As new sets release in the future, it's hard to say. Some of those cards that are true right now worth 7 cents could be worth a lot more money, because people are going to want to put them in their deck. And those won't have reproductions, because the cards that are being reproduced right now in Rarity Collection 2 are the popular cards that are currently needed in today's decks. So, again, as a collector, you're collecting the cards and the sets because you like the artwork and the story and the text on them and the whole basis behind that. And you're going to have your binders because you want to have a 100% binder and the whole 9 yards. And you're not really, you don't care about the value, because if you're trying to build a binder, you're going to have every rarity in there. Now, when you start getting into these kinds of sets where there's 7 different rarities, the idea of 100% completing a binder is tough, unless you start buying singles on the second market, which is probably going to cost you a premium. They don't make profit off of that, but they make profit off of the front-end sales of those booster boxes that's allowing all these individuals to open them and sell their singles. So the more of that product they can pump out, the more profit they get. They got to offset, in my opinion, and I don't know, I haven't done any research on Konami's financials from last year. I'm sure they made some money, but I'm sure they probably took a beating over the amount of sets that they put out. Because if you look here in this set, we've cut back on the packaging, so there will be fewer packs you'll need to open, and fewer foil wrappers to throw away. I don't think that between last year and this year, Konami went, you know what, we've got to be better than the environment. I think sometime between last year and this year, somebody went, wow, we created a lot of product and it's not making a lot of money. We got booster boxes that are currently retailing for $30. We've had to, switch out how we address our sales, and we actually have retailers dropping our product because the front-end sale value is atrocious, because everybody's just waiting for other people to open it so they can buy that 1 or 2 cards out of the set that they need. So I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, that they didn't have the best financial year last year. And when they laid the golden egg of Rarity Collection 1, they quickly jumped on Rarity Collection 2 and said, find us the top, I don't even know how many cards are in here, 100 and some cards, and throw them into reprints, print them in 7 different rarities, and just throw it out there on the market. Tell you what, Rarity Collection 1 was $5 a booster pack. Let's make this $10 a booster pack. Let's put twice as many cards in a booster pack, and we'll just give them a greater possibility to pull these quarter-century rares and print it. And that's kind of where we're at, because this is releasing on May 25th of 2024, which is just a handful of months down the road. Konami laid an egg last year with the amount of product they put out, and the value that it ended up being worth for them as a company. And they laid a golden egg in Rarity Collection 1, and now they need to offset the amount of product they put out last year, so they're going to push out Rarity Collection 2 because they know that we are all going to buy it. Because there is a better chance of pulling quarter century rares, and there's a better chance for players to put these cards in their decks, and there's a better chance for collectors to collect these high value quarter century alternate art cards and put them into our binders and our collections. My prediction for 2024 is you will not see as much product as you did in 2023. You will see more printings of cards. You will see higher value cards. Don't be surprised if they start to serialize cards. Wizards of the Coast is making an absolute killing serializing cards. Whether it be the one of one, the ring, down to the current sets that are out that are running serialized numbers up to 500. Because the value on those cards is upwards of $100, $200, $400 on some of those cards. And Konami is going to follow suit right behind it because it's a winning model as a company that wants to be profitable. It is a business model. As a collector, as a player, we are part of that business, and that we will provide cash to them so that their cash flow can maintain their company, on and on and on and on and on. So do I feel, in my opinion, like creating Rarity Collection 2, Rarity Collection 3, or any of these other collections we're doing reprints is pushing the collector out of the market? Absolutely not. It's doing the exact opposite. It's giving the collector that wants to collect cards, not for resale value, the true ability to chase more various cards to put in their collection. Is it pushing the reseller out of the market? Hopefully it addresses some of that reseller market. Hopefully it addresses some of those resellers or those scalpers or anything that ties back into that whole Van Gogh debacle with Pokemon, where people just raid places and terrorize places and try to grab as many as they can because they want to make a profit off of it. Hopefully by printing 7 rarities of a card and printing reprint after reprint after reprint stops that, but it's not going to stop the collector. As a collector, I'm excited about this product. I hope it pushes the reseller away. I love the fact that it's giving the competitive player more options to buy these cards, to put these into their decks, so that they can be more competitive if they don't have the cash flow to be a top tier player. Hopefully, though, at some point, Konami takes a step back and they provide new, fresh card ideas and card tactics that allow some of these individuals that are geniuses at building decks to build new competitive decks, so that there's a wider variety of options out there for deck building. I know there was a time when I was a competitive Magic player, and if you didn't have one of maybe 5 decks, you was not going to be competitive in the tournaments. You just wasn't going to be. I ran a Bitter Blossom deck. If you didn't run a Bitter Blossom deck with all the fairies, and if you didn't have the right cards, you wasn't going to be competitive. But at that time, you had Bitter Blossoms, you had Kifkin. There's a handful of decks, but at the same time, if you didn't have one of those main decks, you was not going to be competitive at those tournaments. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the same way. Pokemon's the same way. But you're starting to see some of those other TCGs push cards out to where there's a little more competitiveness and a little more option. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Now that the internet exists and everybody's using this great big world to go do some research, once a deck becomes popular and somebody with a big name wins with that deck, and then 2 people win with that deck, everybody's going to want to play that deck. Call of Duty is the exact same. In Call of Duty, it creates a new loadout, and they drop into any lobby, and they get a handful of kills in that lobby, and they make that loadout sound like it is God tier. Those 2.4 million followers now log onto the game, and they create that exact same loadout. And is that loadout God tier? Probably not. But it's going to become God tier because now those 2.4 million players are running that loadout, and they're forcing other people to build loadouts around that or to combat that. It's the exact same concept. So, that was a big rambling, long speech. I get it. The basis behind this entire message is Konami did not do very well last year, in my opinion. If they did, they wouldn't be creating Rarity Collection 2 already as a money grab to try to offset some of what they lost last year. They're doing a different type of print on this. They're giving you a better chance to pull cards so that you have more to chase, so that you buy more. They're putting it in 7 rarities. 7 rarities. So you have a better chance to pull those cards, but 7 rarities, you probably have just as little of a chance to pull the card that you truly want. As a collector, it allows me to collect more cards that I think have incredible art, and have incredible flavor text to add to my collection. I don't care about the value behind it. To the resellers, hopefully it stops them in their tracks and it stops the hoarding of these high value cards and the gouging of the prices and allows the players to build their decks and play. But we'll see. So that's my opinion. Stay tuned and we'll find out as 2024 rolls on. Have a great day.